Good morning guys, Unfrequented World, and we're going to do another post-process like a boss video today. So today I want to talk about shooting with wide angle lenses. This is an old cheapie, a Tokina 1935, but an excellent lens. This lens cost me about $100 and it will do everything that an $800 lens will do. You're just going to have to fix it up in your post-processing. Okay, so before we get into the tools on the computer, I'm going to show you guys with a sheet of paper what an image looks like when it has distortion. So we'll do this going towards you guys. So when your image is flat, that's a nice, flat, normal image. If it has a bow in the middle where the image is coming towards you, that is referred to as barrel distortion. The opposite of that is when the center falls away from you. That's called pincushion distortion. We have a tool to fix that as well. And the third tool that we're going to discuss briefly today is a fisheye tool corrector. And that's for shooting when you're shooting with like a GoPro or something like that and you get that extreme wide angle. Okay, so the first image I want to show you guys, we are in Corel Paint Shop Pro X9. And this image is a GoPro image. So what I just wanted to show you guys that under the adjust tool, we have our distortion correction tools. We have a barrel distortion, fisheye, and pincushion, okay? Because this is GoPro, I'm going to show you guys, we're going to start with the fisheye distortion tool. And we're going to do 100% because these GoPro images are really on the widest setting, stretched out. So we're just going to show you guys the difference here. So there's the original image, and when we apply the filter, I lose 5 pounds, that's great. But if you look at my wife's face, it does some funny stuff over here. It stretches her back. So essentially what the tool does is it grabs the center of the image and it pulls it away from us. So it does a good job of making it look a little more normal, but you're still going to get some distortion in it. And that's a matter of personal taste. Some people don't mind the GoPro. They say, well, that's the images I get with it. But if you do want to correct them, there is a tool under the Adjust tab, okay? And it's the Fisheye Distortion. Okay, so if we go back to the original image here, I want to show you guys what I was talking about where the barrel distortion and the fisheye seem to do the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to show you the barrel distortion now at 100%. So there's before and there's after. So it's not as extreme as the fisheye distortion tool. And maybe that's the way you want to go, somewhere in the happy middle. We can also do these distortion tools more than once, obviously. So now we've just done 2 steps. And this kind of, by doing it twice, this looks pretty similar to where the fisheye correction tool brought us. From here all the way to there, but it did it in 1 step. So that's the difference between those 2 tools. Another important tool that I'm going to mention in this tutorial is when you're shooting with wide angle, it's very hard sometimes to get the horizon line straight. So there's a very quick tool that we can use in here. If you go to the image of the crooked man over here on the side, it's a blue tilted image. If we click on that, we can select the straighten tool, and it's a very easy tool to use. When we select that, we get this white line in the center of our image. And all we're going to do is drag one corner up to the horizon line to the part of the image that we want to straighten, whether it's a line on a horizon or a building or whatever. And then we're going to drag the other side to the other end of the horizon line. We can see that it's quite crooked here. And up at the top, there's a little check mark. And once we do this, the image is going to auto crop itself. And now we can check it with one of our rulers and the image is nice and straight. So that's another tool that you're going to use a lot with your wide angle lenses. That's the straighten tool. Okay, here we are shooting the 1935 Tokina lens that I showed you guys at the beginning of the video. It's an excellent lens, and we're going to zoom in to 100% just so I can show you guys the detail that gets captured with this lens. It's a very nice old cheap lens. Okay, the color rendition is very nice. This is evening light here on this image, but look at the detail in these flowers. Okay, in the petals, the stamen over here, everything very nice detail. We're pixel peeping here at 100%. So I can't tout the benefits of buying an old lens like that if you can get a good copy. Mine needs to be micro adjusted on both of my cameras, but once you do, excellent results. This lens, however, suffers from barrel distortion. So you may or may not notice it when we've got an image here where the flowers are actually coming towards us anyway. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys, we're going to start with, look at how crooked this horizon line is. So we're going to start there with our straighten tool. And we're just going to click on each end of the horizon, the water. Look at how crooked that is. So we're going to try straightening that up. Click the check mark in the top. There we go. If we pull down the ruler, we can check again. And what you're going to now notice is the barrel distortion that I'm talking about. The center of the blue horizon here touches our straight line, but the left end drops below and the right end drops below. So the image is, in fact, barrel distorted. It's coming towards us. So now we go to our tool that I showed you guys earlier under the Adjust tab, Barrel Distortion Correction. And if we leave our blue ruler line here, we can kind of see that 100% is way too much. We've brought this end way up over top. So let's go down to about 50%. That's a lot better. We'll click OK. Now I'm going to show you guys what it looked like before and after. And you can see that in fact the image was bowed towards us. Okay, so this is after the correction. Now that we've done the barrel correction, we can see that our horizon is not exactly straight. And if you want, you can go back in with our straighten tool and just do another adjustment if you're really picky. Keeping in mind, guys, that every time we do that, it is auto-cropping our image. So we started with a full 6,000 by 4,000 pixels down here in the bottom right corner. And now we can see after using the straightening tool twice, we're down to 5,300 and 3,500. So it doesn't matter that we had to use the tool twice. We would have had to get the image straight. But just be aware that it is cropping your image slightly when you do that. Here's another example with the Tokina lens. Not only is the horizon crooked again, but we do have barrel distortion in there. It's very slight, and when you first look at these images, you might not recognize that there's something looks off, but you're not sure what it is. So let's start this time with the barrel adjustment. Okay, and then I'm going to show you guys the original again and the correction. Now that the image is looking a little bit flatter, we can use the straighten tool. And there's the nice flat straight image that we end up when we're done using those two tools. And this one here, guys, is another example. It's an extreme example of distortion. Again, with the Tokina 1935, but we can definitely see the roll in the horizon line here. So not only is it not straight, and we can tell that by pulling a ruler down to the bottom of the beach over here and the top of the horizon over here. They're nowhere near straight, but there's also a nice arch to it. So let's use our tools again. We'll start with the barrel distortion correction. And at 50% on this image, that's nowhere near enough. So we're going to go try 100%. That looks a lot better, but there's still some curve to it. So what you can do is either click OK and apply the barrel distortion again, or let's cancel it and go back to our very first example. Let's try the Fisheye Distortion tool. And we see that when we apply 100%, we're getting cupping. The horizon is now higher than we want it to be. So that's too much. Let's try 70%. And that actually looks pretty good. So we're going to click OK. And now we're going to apply our straighten tool. that looks nice and straight. So again, guys, it's all personal taste, but there you have it. There's a couple tools that can help you shooting wide angle lenses. Don't forget, buy an old lens, save some money, and you can still get those great shots if you post-process like a boss. Thanks for watching, and I'll have more tips for you next week.